never have enough time to play it all. You know everybody.
Hello, welcome again to Otter Creek in Rio Grande. Now you'll notice I am not putting forth a video of me showing the staging yard being complete. If you've been watching the channel for a while, you probably remember me hoping that I would be finished with the staging yard around the first of the year. And then that changed to, well, maybe I'll be finished with it by the end of January. And now here we are pushing up on the second week of March. Now I just came in from the layout room in the garage shop area, and I can tell you that today, really this whole weekend, was a demoralizing defeat. We're talking West End Staging Yard 3, Otter Creek 0. And if you've kept up with the community tab, then you know that I was getting ready to work on the reverse loop and make sure everything was working right with the PSX-AR. And I never really got to that because when I hooked up the power to the west end, I discovered I had a dead short. And I'm not going to discuss that at the moment. I have documented my trials and tribulations for a future video because, like I've always said, I plan on sharing all of my ups and downs on the channel, so that will come out in a future video. So tonight's video, as the title suggests, is going to be about track planning. And I may also, share some ideas of some things I may do before I go forward from where I'm at now, just because this whole staging yard thing has really got me craving to do something creative. And I do think that there's something I can do before I begin the next segment of the layout that will maybe help me recharge my batteries before I get into bench work and more track laying. Now, if you've been with the channel for a while, you're going to be familiar with some of what I'm going to talk about now. But if you're new to the channel, what you're looking at now is the lower level of the proposed layout. And of course, this is the staging yard that I'm working on right now, and all the problems I'm having exist on this west end. So the next thing that's going to happen is I need to go with the track until I get over here to Silver Gulch. And what's new is I've decided that I believe I can have this segment of track, I'm hoping, and then this segment of track here be visible. And I may even consider having some of this loop also pop in and out of scenery. And of course, this right here, this passing siding, that's brand new. That's something that I've just kind of decided might be a good idea to have, especially if I can make this visible. It just would be a good thing to have prior to coming into Silver Gulch. So how am I going to get there? Well, I'm going to have to build a lot of bench work. So this is my proposed bench work idea. I have no idea if it's really going to work, and I have no doubt that as I begin, some of it's going to change. And really, when you look at the rest of the track plan, I'm at a kind of a dilemma. What I think I probably need to do is bring the track all the way to Roaring Fork. I don't want to try and build Roaring Fork. I think all I want to do here, is put in a temporary, simple Y. Just to, because this whole area here is a great big huge Y. So it might be a good idea to put in a simple Y first, because I've never done one. I think that will be easier than my staging yard. But just put a simple Y in here and connect the track so that if I actually get this with all the track work completed, I could do a little bit of operating as I move forward with the layout over here to Cloud City. Now, there are a few other subtle changes to the track plan. And it's the adding of this passing siding. Again, I think having a few of these might be a good idea. And then previously, this stub-in storage yard or classification yard did come all the way out here. I had it coming off of this switch, and I've backed it up to here, which wouldn't be prototypical for the area that I'm, modeling. But then again, I'm not trying to strictly adhere to the prototype, which, if you're new to the channel, this is Basalt, Colorado. This is Blackhawk, Colorado, which existed on two entirely different railroads. But I'm trying to create what's the word I'm looking for? Just my own railroad that borrows from the things that I like. I'm using a couple different railroads in how I'm doing what I'm doing. So in Basalt, this particular track here ended right about here somewhere. And then this staging yard, or not staging, I think there was just a flat out yard, began at the end of town. And as I recall, I think it went on for, 1,200 feet, 1,600 feet, something like that. Obviously, I don't think I can do that here without losing all of this area that needs to be scenery. And I think probably what I'll end up doing is losing these two tracks here, and then I'll have these two tracks as a yard, and then I'll also have these two tracks as a yard. So any way you want to look at it, coming or going on this track, I'll have a trailing point, and then as I go this way, which I believe will be eastbound, I'll have some trailing tracks eastbound with the ability to do some running around as well. I think that's going to work. So now back to the bench work. You can see I have a large hole right in here, and that's because I want to be able to create something that I can maybe push up and access this area here. This is my 24-inch reach circle, and you can see that anything on this end of the layout is going to be pretty much impossible to reach by hand. So I want to be able to get in here and maybe do some cleaning by hand if needed be, by having some kind of access hatch in here. I don't know if it needs to be that big, but I think I'll plan for it to be that big and then just kind of play it by ear as I actually begin to build. Now, to actually get started on the construction of the bench work from here over, I think what I'm going to do, this is my 36-inch circle, and I think it would be a good idea to go ahead and measure out all of this. And I think I'm going to run some tape, like masking tape, on the ground, because I know how much space I need here for what I plan on putting in. And so by running some masking tape on the carpet and kind of getting these rough dimensions of knowing what I need, then I can come in and like maybe cut a cardboard circle that's 36 inches. And then I can lay that circle up against that tape everywhere I go, and then lay some more tape. And you can see I've got room here. I can extend this out, which you can see right here that I don't have my passing siding in there. I easily have room to bring this out, another, I don't know, I think this is my 6-inch circle here. More than 6 inches, I have room to bring that out before I start crowding the aisle. Now there's another location that I think I'm going to do a little bit of work on, and that's the area that I'm calling Hellgate. This is a representation of some trackage in Aspen, Colorado. And I'm relatively sure that I've just got too much going on here. I need to simplify this. I think I like what I've got here. And this bottom track here that I've got shown as a hidden track, it's not going to be completely hidden. I want it to come in and out of some scenery. And then I believe I've got it right now. I think it's somewhere between 8 and 9 inches lower than this trackage up here. Because this is what I'm going to call the high line for no other reason. But it's what comes off of this circle here. Coming out of basalt will end up coming up here. So it's going to go up in grade until it gets to here. I think I need to push this trackage back a little bit because I'm kind of crammed for space in here, even though, I could in theory have all of this, it didn't show that very good. This area, right? Well, it's not going to stay there. Oh boy. One last time. This area here that's in gray, if that's all tunnel, then I could make that work. And, I'm going to play it by ear, but I do think that I've just got I could probably lose these 2 tracks right here and be able to move this back just a little bit more, make it a little easier. And then this track is actually on the same level as this, of course, but then this building, this mill or mine or whatever the heck it's going to be, will be up here so that there's, depth, depth and height. That's kind of what I'm thinking. Now there's one other kind of new idea that I'm thinking about. I'm not 100% sure. I don't think that I ever showed this in any of my previous track planning videos. This is pretty much an identical staging yard to this staging yard. And you can see the way the track comes out of Cloud City, comes back around here, and then goes down grade on the backside to here. And then by its very nature, this yard will be much closer to what's above it. And just to be honest, I'm doubtful that I can even do this way. I'm not sure how much. I think by the book, I think I can get enough clearance in that distance, but I don't know that I'm going to be comfortable with that. So this may be a pie in the sky yard. I'm going to have to do a lot of serious thinking about that. And the good thing is I don't have to have this yard. I just want this yard. And then the green track is HO. And there was a really awesome article in Model Railroad Craftsman this month, or maybe it was last month, where a guy had an awesome transverser and turntable. So if I can sneak my HO underneath where the time saver is, then I could have a small storage yard with a turntable for some HO stuff down on this end of the layout. Of course, all that is yet to be seen. I want to talk just a little bit about scenery because that is also part of railroad planning. So this, like I said earlier, this is Silver Gulch right here. And it's going to be somewhat like Black Hawk, Colorado. This is Black Hawk, Colorado. And you can see that down here on this end of the street, there is a not so subtle grade moving up to here. And then we've got this large ridge here that a church, and I believe this is a school, sits on. And then in the background, you've got this nice ridge here. So, my plan is to have that large ridge that's the furthest in the background. If I can make that, if you can follow my cursor here, come through here with kind of a cutout around the church and the school, and then maybe another cutout around this building, which I think is going to be a foundry, and then come down through here. And then on the back side of that, and I know it's going to be difficult to do, and I might not even be able to do it, but then on this side will be pretty much a sheer drop off, so that the track as it leaves here, this is, a scenery block, a scene transition area where the mountain, is right in here. I don't really want a tunnel. I may put one there. We'll just have to see. But for sure, I want it just kind of disappear. And then as it comes on this side, I want it to be clinging to a sheer cliff. And then on the actual fascia, I want that fascia to drop really low beneath it, like maybe knee level. I'm not 100% sure. Because over here in Basalt area, there's also a mountain on the backside of these houses. And I just think it would be neat to be able to look across the top of the ridge here, see the ridge here where you can't see the town or any of the trackage because it's high enough that you can't see it. And then this drops below your line of sight. And I'm just thinking that's going to be a really nice way of handling the scenery if I can get that done in the space that I have. So that's what I'm thinking right now. So those are the minute changes that I've made to the track plan since my last video. Now, one of the reasons I was wanting to get the staging yard put in place before March, I've got a little bit of a vacation planned here in a week or so. And I really wanted to come back from that vacation refreshed and ready to start something completely different than working on wiring and electronics. So what I plan on doing right before I start working on the bench work, I think I'm going to do it before I start working on the bench work. This area here on the back side of the staging yard out to about here somewhere. I haven't decided yet. I might just end it where the plywood ends. Kind of depends on how much time it takes and how much fun I have with it. But I plan on painting a backdrop all across here. I'm going to do it for practice for more than anything else because the staging yard has no scenery on it whatsoever. And I think this would be a great practice palette for moving forward with a real backdrop. I think I've got somewhere around 13 inches of space that I can paint on. And, then the linear feet, I've got, 26 feet that I could paint if I want. So I think it'll be good practice, and I think it'll be a good way to completely recharge my batteries so that I'm ready to tackle the bench work. So I'm going to call it good for this video. Just wanted to share some of the changes that I've made to the track plan. And, also I've got a lot of new subscribers in the last couple of months that probably haven't seen what the railroad is going to look like, or, my plans for what it's going to look like. So in a nutshell, that's what my plan is. And stay tuned for an upcoming video where you get to see all the tragedy and folly of a dead short in my staging yard. Thanks for watching.